According to history.com, about 4.1 million people around the world have been born on February 29th. Now, clearly, February 29th is a very special day because it comes only on a leap year. It's only fair that we enhance our birthday countdown to take care of this day meaningfully. However, before we go there, I want to give you a clear warning that this is going to be somewhat difficult. We have to analyze every scenario very, very carefully and implement it in code, and it's going to be a lot of code modification. But we'll try to do this in a slow, step by step manner. First thing first, notice that the birth year, if a user enters 29th February in a year that was not a leap year, then our datetime object creation itself would fail. Which means that in all our discussion, we are going to assume that if a user indeed has given a leap year, 29th February as a birthday, then it's a valid number, and which means that the users is indeed a leap year. So we're always going to assume that the birth year is a leap year, and that's fair because the other cases have already been handled. Given this, there are really three scenarios that come up. First one, which is actually kind of the simplest, is that the birth year is a leap year, current year is also a leap year, but current time is less than the this year's birthday, which means that maybe current time is in January or some early February, something like that. Yeah. Now, given that the current year is a leap year, we will be able to form a this year birthday object because again, this year birthday will be on 29th February, and 29th February is a valid date for the present year. Also, we know that the next birthday will be this year too because current birthday has not happened. So in a way, this scenario is relatively simple. The next scenario is that, well, birth year is a leap year, current year is also a leap year, but current time is more than this year birthday. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Yes, we will be able to form the this year birthday object because for the same reason as last scenario. However, here the next birthday will not be next year. It will in fact be 4 years from the current year, and more generally speaking, it will be in the next leap year. Now, I'm highlighting this because you're going to need this for the subsequent calculations as well. The third scenario is that the current year is not even a leap year. Now, this is the most interesting one in a way. Birth year leap year, current year not a leap year, which means that we cannot form this year birthday, that object because this year does not have 29 days. So, that this year birthday object creation will fail. We need to catch that error and proceed accordingly. However, regardless of what the current time is, since this year is not even a leap year, the next birthday will be in the next leap year, which could be 1, 2, or 3 years away. So notice here that we have to do a bunch of things to take care of the different scenarios that are coming up. Kind of taking a high level view, what we will do is that we will figure out if the leap year, if we are dealing with a leap year birthday. Now, this is actually not absolutely necessary, but actually it kind of simplifies the coding. So we'll go with this. We'll figure out if the user has given us a leap year birthday. Like I said, it has to be a valid leap year birthday. We are guaranteed of that because of all the try and errors that we have put. Next, we'll try to form this year's birthday. Now, if this year's birthday forms, assuming we are leap year, that means that this year is also a leap year. In which case, we are pretty much set because we can determine if either this birthday is this year, but when it comes to, the next birthday is either this year, or if the time has gone past this year, then the next birthday will be in the next leap year, right? So we look for the next leap year and we'll determine the next birthday. However, let's say we are unable to form the this year's birthday object, then not a problem because it just means the current year is not a leap year, in which case we know that the next birthday will be whenever the next leap year is. So we have to find out, two things here. We have to determine if we are dealing with a leap year birthday. We also have to figure out how do I tell what is the next leap year given, say, a present leap year. And let's see this step by step. So what we are going to do really is that first thing we are going to determine if we are dealing with a leap year birthday. Now this itself is okay. This is not very hard because if let's say if we are dealing with a leap year birthday, then it has to be 29 days in February. And given that the datetime object was successfully still formed, then it is a leap year birthday. So first let's do this in our code, and then we can come back and proceed with the remaining things. Now notice here I'm forming the date birth object. The fact that it got formed means that I'll continue because I've got to try and accept in this. If there was any problem in this statement, I won't even come to the next line. So I can comfortably assume here that the date birth is in fact valid, which means all I need to do really is to figure out if my date birth has 29 days in February. right? So if I say date birth dot say day is equal to 29. Now notice here I have to use double equal to because I'm checking for equality here. And I say date, so date birth, sorry, birth dot month equals to 2. Again, double equal to, I must put a colon here, and I say, okay, leap, so I just define a variable leap year b day equals to 1, and I put a small print here, print this is a leap year birthday. Let's see this working. We'll give a valid leap year, for this code so that it kind of shows us the sprint. So I say which year you born in. Let's say I say 1988, which was a leap year. I go and say 2 and I say 29. Now this was a leap year, and indeed it says this is a leap year birthday because this date birth object got formed. Now you might wonder, why did I get this invalid date? Please enter again. But that, remember, is happening because in a subsequent place this code is failing, and all errors right now are getting caught by this except statement, which is just saying you are invalid date. So we are going to fix this in the subsequent steps. This is indeed a valid date, and we know that from this print that this is also a leap year. Now let us try to figure out, given a certain year, how do I determine the next leap year? Well, it's kind of not very hard, going back the rules that we know of division. Basically, we know that if the year is divisible by 4, which means year modulo 4, if it is 0, then it is a leap year. On the other hand, if it's not divisible by 4, then what we need to do is to look for the year which is divisible by 4 and after this year. So which means that, what happens really is that we need to add 4 minus year modulo 4. Now, this will require a little bit of thinking. We'll take some examples to kind of clarify this point to go to the leap year. So I'll just show you with some examples. For example, if I go back to my code, let's take a number here. Let's say 1995. Now we know that 1995 is not a leap year because if I do 1995 modulo 4, remember that's a remainder. When I divide this by 4, I get a 3, which means 1995 is not divisible by 4. It is not a leap year. But if I want to go to the next leap year, remember I said you just go and add 1995 plus 4 minus 1995 modulo 4. Now this is really just saying how much should I add to 1995 so that it becomes divisible by 4, and in this case I have to add 1. That's 4 minus 1995 modulo 4, and hence I go to 1996, which is the next leap year, right? So and we can take one more example. Let's say we take 1990, say 1998. If I were to do 1998 plus 4 minus 1998 modulo 4, I'm going to get 2000 because I'm going to add 2 to 1998 to make it a leap year. Now think about this. It will require a little bit of thinking, but it's really quite logical. So what I'm trying to get at is that we can easily go to the next leap year by using this small little formula. Now, having done all this, let's start with some of the other, the logic that we had been mentioning. Remember, if we have come in till here, right? So we have determined that the date, basically this is a leap year birthday. Now we know over here that this basically ensures that we are looking at we are looking at basically a date which is reasonable. It is not in future, right? So this loop stays as it is. I mean, this condition stays as it is. What we do next is interesting from this point. Now remember, I'm going to try and create this year's birthday, right? So if I try and create this year's birthday, this is where a potential problem occurs. If my current year is a leap year, then this birthday will go through. If my current year is not a leap year, then this birthday creation will in fact fail. So what I will do is that I will take this entire code and put it inside an try statement, because this is what I do not know whether it's going to work or not work. So I just go and say, I tap this thing, so I give it one indent, and I'm going to say, okay, look, try doing this. Try doing this. If this happens, all right, that means maybe I can put a small comment, including including this year equals to leap year, right? So this year equals to this year is a leap year. Now, if this year's birthday is beyond the current time, it means we don't have to do anything else. It's exactly the same scenario. Next birthday will be indeed this year birthday, which will be exactly as earlier. However, when it comes to the else situation, which means that now we are dealing with a scenario where current time has changed. So what I will do is that I will take this entire code and put it inside an try statement, because this is what I do not know whether it's going to work or not work. So I just go and say, I tap this thing, so I give it one indent, and I'm going to say, okay, look, try doing this. If this happens, all right, that means maybe I can put a small comment, including this year birthday has already gone by, right? So basically this year birthday is less than the current time. Now in here I have to add a small little comment here. Remember, either it's going to be this year plus 1, which is in the regular case, else it's going to be this year plus 4, which is, like I said, the next leap year. So I'm going to put in here, if let's say, remember we had this we have set this flag to 1, right? The leap year birthday. So I go and put here, if leap sorry if say leap year, say b day, equals to 1. Again, I have to use double equal to because I'm checking for equality there. So I give a tab here and I come in here and I say else, which is the leap year situation. So I say leap year. Oh, sorry, this is bad here. So this is wrong. So I just go and say, if let's say this is, let's say, not equal to 0, so not equal to 1, then I do like a regular time, right? And else, if it's a leap year, then my next birthday I know is going to be, so I come in here, I copy this and I do, let's say, this year plus 4. Now this shouldn't really cause a problem because this year plus 4 will also be a leap year. Now, having done all this, so that my else gets over here. Now comes what happens if this year was not a leap year. So notice I come in here, I mean, with respect to this try, the except statement has to be put in, and except statement is really the situation where my this year is not a leap year. So I just put here, this year not a leap year. Now in this case, we know that this year is not a leap year. Your this birthday is not going to be this year for sure. Your next birthday is in fact going to be in the next leap year, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use this formula that I was telling you about. So I'm going to say dt.date time, and remember it's going to be this, say this year, so this year plus say 4 minus this year modulo 4. Now this is really just saying I'm going to the next leap year and I'm going to just put the month and let's say the day. I'm going to test all of this, but for the time being I'm going to ignore this portion of the code where remember it was telling me how many times my birthday came on a Monday, Tuesday and so on and so forth. I'm just going to comment all this with a block comment because I don't want this to come in the way right now. So I come in here, I just do a block comment until this point. So that piece of the code has been removed, and then I just want to see when my next birthday will be. So if I, let's say, run this, notice all of this has been commented. We'll come back to uncomment this later. But if I run this, it says which year you born in. So I say 1988, I say 2 and say 29. It tells me your next birthday will be on 2024 29 February. That's because I was in a situation where I was not in a leap year, and I know that my birthday will appear on the next leap year. And in fact, with this, we are pretty much done because all I really need to do now is that I have to fix this print a little bit. Now, not only it's telling me days, hours, and so on and so forth, I have to just convert this also into years, but I'll leave that as an exercise for you. Really like whatever we did for the the going from total seconds to say seconds, minutes and so on and so forth, same thing has to be done with respect to so converting days to years. Coming back, however, to the portion of the code that we had commented out, this is telling you how many birthdays fall on which year. Now this is quite interesting because remember we are dealing here with a leap year. So I can't do, for example, test year equals to date of year, I mean a date year of birth plus 1, because if I were to do that, then this statement here would fail because I can't be testing, for example, 1988, 1989, 1989, there was no such day. I'm going to run into trouble. But worry not, because I have with me a flag here which say I can do exact same thing here. I say if say leap year b day is say not equal to 1, then I'm going to say, all right, if this is not equal to 1, then your test year can be test year plus 1, else, sorry, so come in here and I say else, let's say test year test year is really going to be just test year plus 4, because remember we are dealing with a leap year here. Also, in the same logic, I have to put the same thing. I have to increment either by 1 or by 4. In case if it's not a leap year, so I'm going to put the exact same code over here. In fact, if we are not dealing with the with the leap year in this, so if I come in here and I say if I'm not dealing with the leap year, then I'm going to say, I'm going to put, let's say, test year is equal to test year plus 1. Else, I'm dealing with a leap year, so I set else, and I go and say test year equals to test year plus 4. Now, I think this should work because now it is going to do everything the way I wanted. And remember, this is set up to now move till the last birthday. So in this case, also it will take care till the most recent birthday. In fact, we can again turn on this test year printing, so it will get a bit clear as to what's going on. This one gives me, whichever you want. Say I say 1988. It says switch month, say 2 and say 29. Now notice it has tested for all these days because this, so it tried for 1992, 96, 2000, 2004, and it turns out that my birthday has come twice on a Saturday. My next birthday will be 2024. Like I said, you can fix this print to become a little bit better, but that's a nice little exercise. Little bit complicated really, but quite logical, quite sensible if you think about it. But you should beef up your code with some comments so that it becomes easy for you to follow it later on. I hope this gave you an idea. Like I said, this is a little bit hard, but take care and enjoy programming. Thank you so much.